Hot, especially hot. Lin Xiaochuan's eyes were slighted and his brain was shattered by the sun. He was wearing a torn linen cloth and a pair of straw sandals under his feet, which looked like a stone head. He looked down and saw a broken basket next to him, with a few wilted weeds inside, like wild vegetables dug from the mountain. No? I'm traveling through time? Lin Xiaochuan slapped his brain, and his brain buzzed. Last night he stayed up late in his rental house to watch videos, gnawing on the soap noodles and reading through the novels, but when he woke up, he arrived at this place where the birds were not shit. Looking up at the quaint dirt roads around, there were several farmers wearing coarse cloth slapped and humming incomprehensible tunes. This painting style is a perfect ancient small county city. He pinched his thighs, grinning in pain. After confirming that this was not a dream, his brain suddenly ticked as if something was being activated. Then, a bunch of miscellaneous memories came in. He was a ding-stricken orphan in this small county town, named Lin Xiaochuan. His parents had long since passed away, and they were eager to survive by picking wild vegetables and helping others to carry the work. The original owner went up the mountain to find food yesterday, but he fell down after stepping on the air and then changed his body when he woke up. Okay, just travel through time. I still carry a brain of modern knowledge when I start. Lin Xiaochuan grinned. He was a chef in his previous life, and he would make a bunch of modern food or a tech resident. Although he had never followed the book scientific encyclopedia he brought with him, he remembered the content inside. Fire pots, pizza, fertilizers, simple machinery, these things were not allowed to explode in ancient times. Just as he was thinking, his stomach roared and looked down at the broken basket. The wild vegetables inside were almost dried into grass. Lin Xiaochuan curled his lips and decided to go back to the county city to see the situation first. He walked along the dirt road for half a time, and finally saw a broken city with 3 big words Blucher County written on it. When I went into the city, I felt even more overwhelmed. The people on the street were yellow and thin, and there were a few little beggars lying in the corner on the road, with their empty eyes making people sad. Is this place too dirty? There is no such restaurant? Lin Xiaochuan glanced around and found that there were only a few small sacks selling thick sacks on the street. The sacks were as hard as bricks, and they had a scent. He walked over and asked for a price. A puff costs 3 cents, and the buyer still had to grit his teeth and save half a day. No, I have to make some food. It's not my style to eat. Lin Xiaochuan gritted his teeth and decided to use his modern ability to fill his stomach in advance, so he could see if he could make some silver. As soon as his brain turned, he remembered the hot pot, the spicy and scented smell. Don't talk about ancient people, modern people have to drool. When this thing appeared in Qingshi County, it would definitely blow up the street. As soon as he said, Lin Xiaochuan went to the market and changed some coarse salt, dried pepper and a few pieces of fat meat with only a few dollars on his body. The wild vegetables were made of, and there were them in bamboo baskets. He also found a broken iron. Although it was a bit leaky, it could be used in a coordinated manner. Next was to find a place to open it. He took a fancy to a vacant land on the corner of the street. Although it was a little off, it was a success when people came and went, which was suitable for shouting. The first step is to boil the base material. Lin Xiaochuan found a few stones to set up a simple stove. After setting the fire, he threw the fat into the iron pot, slowly boiled out the oil, and then threw it into the dry peppers. In an instant, a strong fragrance drifted out. Several ants who passed by couldn't help but stop stuttering, twitched their noses, and asked, "Little brother, what are you doing? Why does it smell so good?" Lin Xiaochuan smiled so hard that he shouted, "Auntie, this is called a fire pot. After it is cooked, you are here to make sure you still want to eat it." He said, his hands were not stopped, and he threw in a few wild vegetables. The soup juice in the pot was bubbling, the red oil was rolling, and the fragrance was directly sniffed, and it could be heard 10 meters away. As soon as this smell came out, all the people on the street were hooked up and surrounded them and pointed at them. Someone was curious and asked, "What is this fire pot? Why does it still produce red oil? It won't kill people, right?" Don't worry, after eating the bag, you will kill it. Lin Xiaochuan sucked the pot, and boiled a piece of wild vegetables from the pot, dipped it in soup juice, and stuffed it into his mouth. Well, although the ingredients are limited and the ingredients are not complete, the spicy and fragrant taste is still very despicable. He was so greasy that he ate, and the satisfying expression on his face was simply picking around the audience. Who can still bear it? A young man who was as thin as a bamboo pole licked his lips and asked, "How to sell this hot pot?" I'll try it. Lin Xiaochuan's eyes turned and he smiled and said, "Try it for free, but if you want to eat it again, you have to pay for it. A small portion of 5 cents, and you can eat it with oil." His price was not low, but it was not considered exaggerating. After all, the fragrance was so attractive. Who wouldn't want to take a bite? The young man hesitated for a moment, and still gritted his teeth and paid 5 cents. Lin Xiaochuan Rima gave him a small bowl of wild vegetables and soup with ingredients, which was very popular. The young man sipped carefully, his eyes glared in an instant, and he shouted, "Mom, how can this be so delicious? It's so spicy that my mouth is numb, but I just can't stop." He ate all of them in 3 or 2 mouthfuls, licked the bowl, and asked with a red face, "Can you have another bowl?" When the people around saw that, Lima exploded the pot and fought to buy it. Lin Xiaochuan hurriedly gave them a lot of soup and opened his heart to his heart's heart. Hey, ancient people just didn't see the world. As soon as this fire came out, it directly aroused people's appetite. It took no time for his broken iron to surround him, and even a few guys in robes also came over, and they looked like a rich man. One of the middle-aged men with big belly, with a beard with a greasy face, and then shouted, "Xiao Feng, what's this thing? This big guy is here to do it too." When Lin Xiaochuan saw that the popularity was not right, he still smiled and passed a bowl of rice balls, and asked softly, "The surname of Dawei? Look at your school, you must be a big shot in our Changsha County, right?" The man hummed and took the bowl and said, "I am named Zhao Daqian. The business in Changsha County cannot be opened without me." After saying that, he lowered his head and his eyes lit up. He licked the bottom of the bowl cleanly and didn't even put the soup juice. He wiped his mouth and said, "Okay. It's so good. This spicy taste is absolutely breathtaking. Xiao Wei, your handwriting is good. How about going back with me and giving me a private chef?" Lin Xiaochuan's heart skipped a beat. This big fortune looked like it was not a good bird. It was full of flesh on his face, and his words were filled with a high smell. He didn't want to give someone a badass, so he smiled and recommended, "Zhao Dalai is lifting up. I am a casual person and want to open a small shop by myself and have a meal. If you like it, you are welcome to come and support it." Zhao Daqian's face darkened, he narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Xiaochuan for a few times, and snorted, "Okay, you have a strong aura. But not everyone can hold this Changsha County floor. If you want to open a store, you must ask me if you answer or not." After saying that, he shook his sleeves and left a few dollars, as if he was sure shoo. Lin Xiaochuan looked at his back and muttered in his heart, "This guy is probably a local tyrant, and I guess he will have to find trouble in the future. However, the soldiers will cover the water and soil. Who are you afraid of?" He turned over and continued to greet the guests. The fragrance of the fire became more and more heavy. People from the noble mansions across the street looked here. At this time, a thin figure suddenly slapped out of the crowd, wearing a torn coarse cloth coat and a dirty scarf on his head. She lowered her head and asked timidly, "Big brother, can you really eat this hot pot?" I have 2 cents, can I buy some?" When Lin Xiaochuan saw that he was a little girl, probably only 13 or 14 years old, as thin as a cat, and his eyes were full of lust. He felt soft and held his hand and said, "It's okay to have $2. Come and sit down and eat a bowl. What's the name?" The little girl was stunned for a moment and said in a low voice, "My name is Xiaotsue. My parents are gone. I usually live by shaking." "Thank you, brother." She took the bowl and ate in small mouthfuls, her eyes almost falling down, and she muttered, "This is the best thing I have eaten." Lin Xiaochuan looked at her so sad, and his brain felt hot and said directly, Xiao Chui, that's the case. You can do it with me. Help me to help me, take care of food and accommodation, how about it? Xiao Chui heard it and her eyes lit up. She hurriedly pointed, really? Brother, don't you think I'm clumsy? Then I must do it well, she said with gratitude in her eyes. Lima squatted down to help Lin Xiaochuan clean up the bowl. With Xiao Chui helping, Lin Xiaochuan's business became more and more successful, and the hot green business became more and more popular. In the evening, people on the street almost burst into pieces. Several people from the rich and even sent their subordinates to come over and ask to pack a few hot pot soup bases, saying that they wanted to bring them back to their master's delicious food. Hey, I didn't expect to make a full pot on this first day. Lin Xiaochuan felt happy when he took the money in his hand. He looked down at Xiao Chui and saw that she was busy wiping the pot. He was sweating heavily and didn't say anything. So he patted her on the shoulder and said, Xiao Chui, don't be busy. We will have some fun tonight, so I wish you a wish. Xiao Chui grinned and said, okay, brother. But I see that today's big money is not right, so we have to be careful. He is very strong in Qingshi County. If he doesn't hear, he will take someone to smash the child. Lin Xiaochuan heard it and sneered, smash the kid? He dares to come, I want to see who will smash it. Our hot pot is not only delicious, but also wins people's hearts. By then, the people in the county are standing by us. I think he can do anything to lose money. He said it hard, and his heart began to calculate. Then he had to speed up and open the winery, and he had to find a way to do something to defend himself, so as not to be troubled by the bully. The night was getting deeper, and the fragrance of the fire was still flying on the street. The lights from several Precious Tribes' residences were lit up. I could probably hear someone discussing how delicious this fire was. Lin Xiaochuan packed up his baby and looked at Xiao Chui beside him, thinking with confidence, this is the beginning. When I create modern food and technology, this Qingshi County, no, the whole world has to remember my Lin Xiaochuan's name. Early the next morning, Lin Xiaochuan just raised his sacred son, and there were already a bunch of people on the street, staring at his broken iron, waiting for the spicy aroma to rise out again. After Xiao Chui was busy, she helped wash vegetables and set fire, and said in her mouth, brother, I heard the ant next door last night that our reputation for this firewood was sent to the ears of the county Lord Ling. Maybe everyone in the government will come to the government for a few days. Lin Xiaochuan heard this and was happy. He raised his sleeves and said, that's good. The county has come. Wouldn't our business be more stable? Come on, Xiao Chui, help me stir-fry this base. Today we add some wild mushrooms to ensure that they can eat oily. His feet were quick, and the red oil in the pot rolled up. As soon as the fragrance came out, the crowd of people burst out and they fried, fighting to pay the copper money. But the business just started to get hot, and suddenly there was a noise from afar. Several people wearing short strikes walked over, and they were leading the big money yesterday. He changed his robe today, his face shaking like a mountain of meat, and he was holding a thick wooden stick in his hand, staring at Lin Xiaochuan's stern with a deep look. Xiao Wei, the business is very popular. Zhao Daiqian sneered, walked closer, and knocked the stick on the ground casually, giving a dong-dong whisper. When the people around saw this battle, they calmed down. Many people quietly retreated for a few steps, fearing that they would be affected. Lin Xiaochuan raised his eyelids, and he was not panicked. He put down the spoon in his hand and said with a smile, Zhao Dawei, do you want to taste the smell of the fire pot this early in the morning? Come on, I will give you a bowl for free. Zhao Daiqian hummed, and did not take his slap. He glanced at the crowd around him and said strangely, boy, don't fight me. I said yesterday that not everyone can catch the floor of Qingshi County at will. You dare to make money here without my permission? Believe it or not, I will take someone to smash your trunk and let you go back to the mountain trunk. As soon as this came out, everyone around him gasped. Xiao Chui was so scared that her face turned white. She pulled Lin Xiaochuan's sleeves and said in a short voice, brother, don't force him to come. Zhao Daqian said this. He heard that there was a cloth sold last month and he didn't pay him a protective fee, so he was directly cut off. Lin Xiaochuan patted Xiao Chui's hand and signaled her not to panic. Then he turned to look at Zhao Daqian, but still had that unrestrained smile. Zhao Daqian, you are just talking nonsense. My little son has paid some hard work and is a warm picture. Why are you stolen? Besides, there are so many towns on the street looking at it. If you really smashed me, they wouldn't have eaten it, right? This is so soft that the people around him start to speak privately after hearing it. Someone muttered in a low voice, this little brother is right. The hot pot is so delicious, it's a pity to smash it. Someone also answered, Zhao Dabao usually bullies others. Now he doesn't let go of any of his little kids. He's too much. Zhao Daqian's face darkened. It was obvious that Lin Xiaochuan dared to be full of mouths. He was so angry that he put the stick on the ground and shouted, boy, don't give faces without faces. I'll leave this today and take your son away within 3 days, otherwise don't blame my subordinates for being merciless. After speaking, he shook his hand and took several subordinates along. When he left, he glared at Lin Xiaochuan fiercely. After the crowd spread, Xiao Chui patted her chest and said worriedly, brother, what should we do? In 3 days, Zhao Daqi really brought people to smash the baby, so we can't stand it. Lin Xiaochuan narrowed his eyes and snorted, smash the baby? He has this pity, so I will make him regret giving birth. Xiao Chui, don't be afraid, we not only have to keep this baby, but also let all the people in Qingshi County stand here. Next, we have to do some big moves. Speaking of this, his brain flashed and he remembered the fertilizer formula and simple irrigation technology in the book Scientific Encyclopedia in his previous life. In this era, the farmers in Qingshi County relied on the weather to eat. The harvest of crops was extremely poor, and many people couldn't even eat them. If he can help farmers increase their production and solve the problem of warm food, wouldn't it be equivalent to buying the hearts of the people of the county? By then, Zhao Dabao even had a huge sacred man, and he would not dare to touch a single hair. Let's go, Xiao Chui, I'll leave it to you first. I'll go to a few farmers outside the city to chat with you. After Lin Xiaochuan said that, he put a few money in his hand and went straight to the fields outside the city. He asked along the way and soon found a farmer named Li Laohan. He had a few thin fields at home, and the harvest was not good every year and his life was very tight. Lin Xiaochuan walked over with a smile, opened the door to see the mountain and said, Uncle Li, I heard that the crops in your field are not growing well. I have a way to make you more food here. Are you interested? When Mr. Li heard this, he looked at him half-believingly and said with a slight head, little brother, don't joke. For this kind of thing, Zuzu is like this. How can I say it will change? My land has failed every year and I can't afford the tax. How can I still have the intention to hear you talking nonsense? Lin Xiaochuan was not in a hurry, and squatted down and pointed to the soil in the ground and said, Uncle, your field is barren, lacks fertility, and cannot supply water, so the crops are not good. I have a way to make a homemade fertilizer, which has low cost and good effect. I can also teach you how to divert water and irrigate it, so that your harvest will double this year. Mr. Li was stunned for a moment when he heard this, and hesitated for a moment, and still said, then. Okay, my field is almost deserted anyway. If you really have a way, I will try it. Next, Lin Xiaochuan started to work hard. He first asked Laohan to collect some wood ashen poultry and livestock stools, and then according to the recipe in his memory, fold some fermented bean dregs, stir and bury them into the ground, and use them as simple organic fertilizer. Then he found a few more bamboos, dug a small canal, and divert water from a nearby stream so that the fields could drink water at any time. After working hard for a whole day, I finally packed up these few things. Lin Xiaochuan wiped his sweat and clapped his hands and said, Uncle, let's wait and see the effect next. At most half a month, your crops will definitely grow better than other people's. Although Mr. Li didn't believe it very much, seeing that Lin Xiaochuan was sweating profusely, he felt embarrassed to say anything else. He kept saying thank you and forced him to give him a few thick breasts. Lin Xiaochuan didn't recommend it, and took the puff and returned to the city. He thought in his heart that the first step was to go out. Next, he would wait for the news to be released so that more farmers could come to him to cooperate. As expected, within a few days, the crops from Lilaohan began to sprout, and their length was obviously much better than the surrounding fields. As soon as the news spread, farmers in several nearby villages were blown up and ran to Lin Xiaochuan to hear what was going on. Lin Xiaochuan did not hide his own personal information, and taught everyone everything about fertilizers and irrigation methods, and went downstairs to help and guide them with his fingers. Half a month later, the harvest of these fields doubled, and the farmers were so happy that they could not speak. They all said that Lin Xiaochuan was a living god when they met everyone, and some people even directly brought their own food to thank him. For a while, Lin Xiaochuan's reputation was sensational in Qingshi County, and the people in the city began to discuss, saying that this year, Xiao Xiaobao not only could make firewood, but also could help people. He was simply a capable person. Xiao Chui looked at this move and couldn't help but grin. "Brother, your method is really decisive. Now everyone in the county has renounced you. Even if you want to find trouble, you have to think twice about it." Lin Xiaochuan smiled and slapped his hand, saying, "This is not enough. With the support of the people alone, he will be more afraid of the mouse and cannot cure the root cause. We have to make more trouble and force it out so that he will not dare to move us." Speaking of this, he remembered some cold weapon improvement designs that he had seen in his previous life, especially the structure of crossbow arrows. If a batch of powerful crossbow arrows can be created, it will not only be able to defend itself, but also shock Xiao Dao's help. So he took Xiao Chui and went straight to the iron craftsman in the city and found an old man named Zhang Iron Craftsman. Zhang Zijiang is a 50-year-old man with a face full of beards and a good handcraft, but his business is deserted, and there are only a few broken farm tools in his siblings. Lin Xiaochuan entered the door and said bluntly, "Uncle Zhang, I have a crossbow arrow design. I want to ask you to get some tricks out. Do you think it's okay?" Zhang Zijian heard this, raised his eyebrows and asked in confusion, "Bound arrow? That thing is not something that can be done at will. When the government investigates it, we can't afford it. Where's your design?" Lin Xiaochuan smiled and took out a few pictures of grass from his back. Although it was rough with charcoal, the structure was clear and visible. He pointed to the picture and said, "Uncle, don't worry. I guarantee this design is 10 times stronger than the one on the market, with a longer range and greater power. The key is that the price is not high. Let's do a few trials first, and whether it will succeed depends on the result." Zhang Zijian took the picture and looked at it for a long time. His eyes became brighter and brighter, and he muttered, "This method is really a little bit like this. Okay, boy, I will believe you once, we will start working tonight." That night, fires shone through the sky in the iron craftsman, and the sound of ding 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 kept ringing. Lin Xiaochuan pointed at the side, and Zhang Zijiang was quick to create the first improved crossbow arrow before dawn. During the trial, an arrow shot through 3 wooden boards directly, with a range of twice as far as ordinary crossbow arrows. Zhang Zijian was stunned and patted his thighs and shouted, "What a guy! If this thing is sold, it will definitely be a big deal. Boy, how long are you? You don't look like an ordinary person." Lin Xiaochuan smiled without saying anything, and thought about it. He could not take out these crossbow arrows at a loss, so he had to hide them first, and then use them to give Viagra a key moment to the Ma Wei. He asked Zhang Ziji to create several pieces of hand-in-hand first, hiding them in the backyard of his son. At the same time, he instructed, "Uncle, let's keep this matter secret first. When the time comes, I will surely make some people regret coming to mess with me." Zhang Zijiang pointed his head, admired him, and muttered, "Okay, boy, I'm going to be with you. Any new styles, come and find me." At this moment, a sudden burst of footsteps came from outside the child. Xiao Chui ran in panting and said in a panic, "Brother, it's not good." Zhao Daiqian brought a big helper, saying that he was going to smash the child. Now he has reached the intersection of the street. What should we do? Lin Xiaochuan raised his eyebrows and sneered at the corner of his mouth. It's just right. I'm just worried that I won't have the chance to try our new guy. Let's go, Xiao Chui, let's meet him when we go back, and see how many abilities this big money has. He patted Zhang Ziqian's shoulder, and a cold light flashed through his eyes, and turned around and walked towards the street corner. Lin Xiaochuan walked towards the street entrance with big strides, and Xiao Chui and Zhang Zijiang followed closely, with a tight hair on their faces. Xiao Chui ran and gasped, and said in a low voice, "Brother, Zhao Daqui has brought more than a dozen troubles this time. It seems that he is so heartbroken that he wants to smash his son. Can we really stand up?" Lin Xiaochuan glanced at her, and said indifferently, "You have to be on the top even if you can't hold it." He thought he was the heaven of Qingshi County. "I'll let him know today, what is it like to have heaven beyond the sky? Uncle Zhang, are we all those crossbow arrows?" Zhang Zijian patted the cloth bag around his waist and smiled. "Don't worry, boy, it's all here. The goods I tried were scary at a distance. They were kept forever." As he said, there was a flash of excitement in his eyes, which seemed to be full of confidence in this new thing. As soon as the three of them arrived at the intersection, they saw Zhao Daqui blocking there with a helper, holding a stick and an iron fork in their hands, shaking air. Zhao Daqian was wearing a robe and his face was shaking like a mountain of meat. Seeing Lin Xiaochuan coming, Lima sneered and said with a sneer, "Yi, Xiao Wei, I really dare to come. I thought you were afraid to hide in the mountain of fish." The people around had heard the sound long ago, and they didn't dare to get too close, so they watched the scene far away. Someone muttered in a low voice, "This big money is too bullying. Brother Lin's hot pot is so delicious. Why can't people do business peacefully?" Someone also answered, "That's right. Now there are many crop fields in the fields, and the harvest has doubled. If you don't ruin your baby, you will be able to stop the big brothers from living." Lin Xiaochuan heard these comments and felt more at ease. He took a step forward and said with a smile, "Zhao De, are you really not going to give me a way to survive? But to be honest, you can afford to smash this slab, but the neighbors can't afford to slough the belly of the neighbors. If you really take action today, you may have offended the people of Qingshi County." Zhao Daqi's face darkened, and it was obvious that Lin Xiaochuan dared to take the people to suppress him. He hummed, and the stick hit the ground, shouting, "Don't talk to me about these useless things. I've said the floor of this Qingshi County. Not only will you smash your slap today, but you have to know what it means to be blind." After speaking, he slapped his hand, and the slim horse behind him approached forward, and the stick was swollen, and he knew that he should be serious. Xiao Chui was so scared that her face turned pale. She pulled Lin Xiaochuan's sleeve and said in a small voice, "Brother, we have few people, so it is definitely not possible to fight hard. Why don't you recognize it first and smash it before returning?" But Lin Xiaochuan ignored her, her eyes turned cold, and she directly took a crossbow from Zhang Zijiang's hand, and said to Xiao Chui in a low voice, "Ask. That's not my style." As the voice fell, a slight silence on the side of Zhao Daqian had already been thrust over. The iron fork pointed directly into Lin Xiaochuan's chest and shouted, "Boy, I'm looking for death." But he didn't get close to him, but he only heard a whoosh sound. A crossbow arrow broke through the air and shot through the iron fork in his hand accurately. The force was so strong that it directly tilted the fork to the ground. The slut was stunned for a moment, his hands shook, the iron fork fell to the ground, and his face turned pale in an instant. With this arrow, the scene exploded directly. The people who were watching were breathing, and some people were surprised. "Tianai, what kind of weapon is this? Why is it so bad?" Zhao Daqian's subordinates were also stunned, and walked for a while, not daring to move forward. Zhao Daqian's eyelids twitched even more, and he shouted with a strong face, "Where's this kind of thing for you, a kid? This is a banned weapon. Believe it or not, I will arrest you." Lin Xiaochuan sneered, put on the crossbow, and said slowly, "Zhao De, before reporting the official, think about whether you can walk out of this street. This thing is called an improved crossbow arrow. It has a long range and is powerful, and it cannot be treated with a long eye. If you want to try it, I don't mind giving you a shot." As he said, the crossbow in his hand slightly raised, and the direction of Zhao Daquan was correct. At this moment, Zhao Daqi was really panicked. The flesh on his face was shaking even more. He said in a slight manner, "You, don't come. It's good to say, we won't take any life." But the bad guys under his command didn't buy money. Someone muttered in a low voice, "Boss, this kid is only one, we have more than a dozen people, what are we afraid of? Go over and kill him." After saying that, several guys picked up sticks and rushed forward, not taking Lin Xiaochuan seriously. Looking for death. Lin Xiaochuan's eyes flashed, his fingers moved, and 3 crossbow arrows shot out one after another, each of which was extremely accurate, shooting through the several powerful weapons, and some even wiped their shoulders and brought a bloody flower. The few guys howled and fell to the ground, covering their wounds and slamming them. When the remaining sluts saw the struts, their legs were soft. They dared not go up again and kept retreating. Zhang Zijian also picked up a crossbow and stood beside Lin Xiaochuan, and smiled, "Boy, this thing is so good. I won't shine it on a few more." Although Xiao Chui was surprised to have a white face, she still plucked up her courage. Standing behind Lin Xiaochuan, she said in a short voice, "Brother, we have one, they are not rivals at all." The people on the scene were so excited that they were cheering, and some shouted, "Brother Lin is so good. They beat these tyrants and urinate." Someone also cheered, "I'm lucky, I usually bully people, and I should give some food to teach today." The sound became louder and louder, almost making the whole street roar. Seeing that Dafu was gone, his face was blue and gritted his teeth and wanted to take someone away, but Lin Xiaochuan would not give him any chance. He shot an arrow directly on the ground beside his foot, and the tail of the arrow was still buzzing, which scared him to his feet and almost kneeled down. Lin Xiaochuan said coldly, "Zhao Dada, what are you going to run away? Are you not very tough just now? Come on, let's have a good chat. Who is the owner of Qingshi County?" Zhao Daqian was so worried that he turned around tremblingly, and a smile appeared on his face, which was harder than crying. "Lin. Brother Lin, it's easy to say, but it's all just a mistake. I'm just a joke, how dare I really smash your slap?" he said, his legs trembling like a slash, and his face was almost shaking. Lin Xiaochuan hummed, walked over and kicked him in the knee, and knelt down with a sound, screaming in pain. Lin Xiaochuan squatted down, patted his face, and smiled and said, "Would you miss it? Joke? Zhaoda, your joke is so big. I brought more than a dozen people to smash my baby. If I continue this, I will lose my life, right? Come on, today, with the neighbors, I apologize to the master and say what's wrong with you." Zhao Daqian dared not speak stubbornly, and he was busy and said, I'm wrong. I shouldn't bully Brother Lin, let alone smash my son. Dear neighbors, I'm chaotic about Zhao Daqian, and I will never dare to do it again in the past. Please tell me," he said, and he also slapped the people around him with his head, with a few blue and purple on his face, and the wolf was as bright as a dog. At this scene, the people around were directly bombarded. Some applauded, and some made a big fuss. "Zhao Dabao, you have today. You usually bully us, you know it's wrong now." Someone shouted, "Brother Lin is mighty. Who dares to urge you in the future, we will not respond first." For a while, the streets were thunderous, and Lin Xiaochuan's reputation reached the top, becoming a great hero admired by everyone in Qingshi County. Lin Xiaochuan felt very happy when he looked at Zhao Daqian's feelings, but he still looked generous and said, "Okay, Zhao Daqian, I will let you go today. But I said it was in front of me. Next time, I won't have a long eye for this crossbow arrow." After saying that, he turned around and winked at Zhang Zijian and Xiao Chui. The 3 of them left, leaving Zhao Daqian and his subordinates trembling on the street. After returning to Zhuzi, Xiao Chui was still full of face and couldn't help but say, "Brother, you just had those arrows too bad. The old thing in Zhao Daqian is usually domineering, and I'll be counted as a slap today. I see if he dares to come and find fault in the future." Zhang Zijian also smiled so hard that he couldn't hold his mouth, patting Lin Xiaochuan's shoulder and said, "Boy, in today's battle, we have already beaten the name of this crossbow arrow. Whoever dares to move you in the future is to be against Qinghai County." Lin Xiaochuan smiled and said a little, but he was not so happy in his heart. People like Zhao Debao, eating it once does not mean they will be soft, and they may even do minor actions in secret. But now, he can take advantage of this wave of hope to make his business bigger and stronger, so that he can stand firm and keep his feet stable. Sure enough, in the next few days, Lin Xiaochuan's business of Huizi was very popular. Every day, people gathered around from morning to night. Even people came to the next county town to name it, so they wanted to use this spicy soup. His reputation for helping farmers improve their fields is getting farther and farther away. Many landlords and wealthy people have taken the initiative to come to the door, begging him to help improve his harvest and take action one by one to the next. On this day, Lin Xiaochuan was busy greeting the guests. Xiao Chui suddenly ran over and said with surprise, "Brother, big things are not good, not right, it is a great thing." Someone who was wearing the romance came here, saying that he was an envoy from the capital. He heard the name of our hot pot and came to the golden pot. He also said that even His Majesty the Emperor had heard about this matter and wanted to call you to the capital to meet the sacred temple. Lin Xiaochuan heard that the spoon in his hand almost fell to the ground. He was stunned for a moment before reacting and grinning. "Yes, has the Emperor heard it? This reputation is so fast. Okay, this is a good opportunity. Our Qinghai County has been around for a long time. It's time to go to a bigger stage to have fun. Xiao Chui, I'll hand it over to you first. I'll go to meet this envoy and see how deep the water in the capital is." As he said, he patted the oil on his hands, with a hint of expectation in his eyes, and turned toward the address left by the messenger. Lin Xiaochuan followed the envoy's guidance and came to the only guest house in Qinghai County. From a distance, he saw a middle-aged man wearing a jade crown and extraordinary temperament. He was sitting in the lobby drinking tea. There were two servants standing next to him, with a sword hanging around his waist. He looked like he was not an ordinary person. Lin Xiaochuan felt a sudden smile and thought to himself, this battle is indeed the leader of the capital, and it is probably a big shot. He tidied up his clothes, walked over, and bowed with a smile. "Sir, Lin Xiaochuan, I heard that you came from the capital and wanted to see me with a name. This is really a puffy. I wonder what instructions do you have?" The middle-aged man put down his teacup, looked up and down at Lin Xiaochuan, smiled on his face, and said slowly, "Lin Xiaochuan, whose official surname is Li, is the servant supervisor in the palace. He came to Qinghai County to find out the truth by His Majesty's order. He heard that there is a food called fire pot in the city of your small county, which is extremely spicy and can't be praised by anyone. Your Majesty was curious when he heard it, and he specially asked me to come and have it. If it is really like the words, Your Majesty intends to summon you to the capital to meet the sacred world, how can you please?" Lin Xiaochuan heard it and felt happy in his heart, but his face was still very soft. He hurriedly said, "Mr. Li is so serious. The little fire pot is just a vulgar food. It is really a blessing to be able to eat in His Majesty. Wait a moment, I will take the opportunity to cook myself, so that you can taste this spicy taste." After speaking, he turned around, headed straight to the back kitchen of the guest house, borrowed a bowl and a pot, and started operating on the site. After a while, the aroma of the fire burned out from the back kitchen, the red oil rolled up, and the spicy and delicious fragrance made the whole guest stretch their necks. Li's servant heard the smell and his eyes lit up. When Lin Xiaochuan held a hot pot on the table, he couldn't help but pick up the fat beef with chopsticks. After the scent, he dipped it in a bit of soup and stuffed it into his mouth. He raised his eyebrows and said, "Okay. Okay. This taste is really extraordinary. It makes people feel numb and spicy, but he can't stop. Lin Xiaochuan, you are indeed qualified to go to Beijing to show your skills." Lin Xiaochuan smiled so well that he hurriedly said, "It's good if you like it. The small fire pot can also be matched with various ingredients, so I guarantee that you will think about it twice. If you can come to Beijing to celebrate the sacred ceremony, the small one will do your best to make your majesty delicious. Li Shinsuk pointed his head and wiped his mouth with satisfaction, and immediately made a decision. That's it. With me in 3 days, I will start my journey to Beijing, so don't let your majesty down. After 3 days, Lin Xiaochuan handed the sizzle over to Xiao Chui and Zhang Haijian to take care of it. He packed up a few clean clothes himself, and specially brought a few bags of homemade hot pot base and simple cooking tools to prepare to show off his skills in the capital. Before leaving, Xiao Chui grabbed his sleeve, her eyes filled with reluctance, and said hard in her mouth, "Brother, you have to be careful when you enter Beijing and hear that there are dragon snakes in that place. Don't be cheated. We are waiting for good news in Qingshi County." Zhang Zijian also patted his chest and promised, "Boy, I'm watching here. Who dares to come and find fault? I'll serve him with crossbow arrows. Don't worry, give us the eldest son of Qingshi County." Lin Xiaochuan smiled and pointed, slapped his hand, followed the Li Shirshi's team and embarked on the way to Beijing. Along the way, I drove to the capital for half a month. Lin Xiaochuan looked out from the horse and saw that it was golden and blue in front of him. On both sides of the spacious street were full of winery shops with carved beams and paintings. People coming were rich in clothes, and those selling snacks along the road were hundreds of times more generous than those in Qingshi County. He was excited and thought to himself, this place is indeed a big stage. My fire and the modern things in my brain are finally useful. The day to meet the sacred temple in the palace was set for 3 days. Li Shishi arranged Lin Xiaochuan to live in the museum and sent someone to deliver a bunch of good ingredients to make preparations in advance. Lin Xiaochuan was also not vague. He thought about the menu all night. In addition to the hot pot, he also planned to order modern desserts, such as simple versions of milk tea and cakes, which ensured that these ancient people's eyes fell off. On the day of the christening, Lin Xiaochuan was taken into the palace early, through the numerous palaces, and came to the imperial kitchen. As soon as he went in, he saw that the imperial kid was sweating profusely. He looked at him with disdain, and someone muttered in a low voice, "The wild boy from this country is also served in the palace to cook? Don't make something difficult to get, which will hurt your majesty's appetite." Lin Xiaochuan was not worried when he heard this, and said with a smile, "Dear masters, don't rush to discuss it. I'll have my dishes later. Please make sure you kneel down and ask for the recipe." After speaking, he raised his sleeves and started to operate the sight. As soon as the heated base was stir-frying, the fragrance filled the whole imperial kitchen. The imperial kitchens were smelling and their faces changed. Although they didn't say it, they were already muttering in their hearts. After the dishes were prepared, Lin Xiaochuan brought the hot pot and a plate of milk tea cakes, and came to the hall with the servant Li. In the hall, the emperor sat upright on a dragon chair, and the civil and military officials of the court were lined up by both sides, staring at him with a sharp look. Although Lin Xiaochuan was a little nervous, he still smiled naturally on his face and knelt down and said, "Lin Xiaochuan, please see your majesty. Today I would like to offer you the snacks of fire pot and sweet milk cake from the countryside. I hope your majesty and the lord of you." The emperor was about 40 years old and had a majestic face. After hearing this, he raised his eyebrows and said in a deep voice, "Fuku? Sweet milk cake? The name is novel. I heard that you are famous in Qingshi County. Today I will see if it is true as the words." As he said, he waved his hand and signaled Lin Xiaochuan to step forward. Lin Xiaochuan set up a small pot, the bottom of the fire burner was bubbling, the red oil rolled over, and the fragrance instantly spread throughout the hall. The court officials could not help swallowing their saliva as they heard this, and even the emperor's expression calmed down a little. He took the chopsticks and slurped the mutton, and after the boiling, he put it in his mouth. When his eyes lit up, he kept saying, "Okay. This taste is really extraordinary, spicy and fragrant, and it is so hot that it is really delicious." As soon as this was said, the civil and military officials of the dynasty could no longer sit still. They asked the emperor for permission and wanted to give the taste of this fire pot. The emperor laughed and said, "I am the Lord, today I will make an exception and share this food with me." Lin Xiaochuan saw this and hurriedly greeted the palace people to help me divide the dishes. For a while, the main hall was as hot as the new year. The court officials were full of oil and could not praise them. Some even slapped the tables on the spot and shouted, "This taste is only available in the sky," and people can get a few replies. Then, Lin Xiaochuan served milk tea and cake again. The emperor sipped it, with a rare smile on his face, and said, "This sweet food is unique, sweet and soft, and it complements the strong heat of the fire. Lin Xiaochuan, you have something to be there, I feel very comforted." Lin Xiaochuan took advantage of the heat to slap the iron and said with a smile, "Your Majesty, if you like it, the grass people would like to impart this method of hot pot and sweets to the imperial kitchen, so that the people of the world can taste this taste and share the joy of the prosperous age." The emperor heard the great reverence and immediately issued an order to designate Lin Xiaochuan as the god of food and a third-rank official. He also ordered him to open the royal wine building and promote food culture across the country. At this point, Lin Xiaochuan was a complete rebellion. From Shaowei in Qingshi County to a red man in the court, the eyes of civil and military officials in the court changed. They were fighting against Batu, and several old ministers even asked him to teach him the secret recipe for fire pot. Lin Xiaochuan felt very happy, but he still responded indifferently, thinking, this is the beginning, and then he had to develop modern technology in his brain to help the emperor solve the problem of making a point. As expected, within a few days, the border reported urgently, saying that the rebels in the northwest were in trouble, killing and looting, and the local defenders were defeated in war, and the court urgently needed solutions. The emperor was worried in the court, and the civil and military officials discussed the debate, but they couldn't come up with any good ideas. When Lin Xiaochuan saw that this was the opportunity he showed. When he immediately stood up, he shouted, "Your Majesty, the people are not talented, and he is willing to do a plan that may help the court quell the rebellion." When the emperor heard this, he became interested in the horse and said in a deep voice, "Oh, Lin Xiaochuan, you are just a cook, how can you know about military affairs? If you have a good plan, come quickly." Lin Xiaochuan was calm and took out a straw picture from him. It was his design to improve the crossbow arrows. Respectfully, the presentation said, "Your Majesty, this is a continuous crossbow made by Chao Min. It has a long range, is powerful, and can be launched continuously. If a military force is installed, it will definitely make the rebels come back without returning. In addition, Chao Min can also design a simple grass-fed preparation method to ensure that the military has no worries in the logistics of the army." On the other hand, he explained in detail the structure of crossbow arrows and the skills of drying and storing food. These were all derived from modern knowledge. They were simple and easy to use and could have miraculous effects on ancient war scenes. The civil and military officials of the Zhao dynasty were stunned. Even the emperor couldn't help but stand up and carefully looked at the straw picture. After a while, he slapped the table and said, "Okay. If this thing is really as you said, it must be a big killer. Come on, call up the craftsmen quickly, and use this picture to create 100 crossbows and send them to the northwest front line." In the next few months, Lin Xiaochuan was supervising the construction of weapons and took time to direct the military's logistics, and forced the grass fighting rate to half. The northwest front line soon sent a briefing, saying that when a crossbow was launched, the rebels were beaten to the point of being defeated. Within 3 months, the rebellion was finally pacified. The emperor was overjoyed and immediately praised Lin Xiaochuan again, and named him Marquis of Dingua, and gave him a fief of all households, with a status of nearly a first-rank official. Now, Lin Xiaochuan's reputation has been spread throughout the country. He is not only the god of food but also the hero of the determination. He is worshipped by people everywhere he goes. He took advantage of the opportunity to promote modern foods such as turquoise, pizza and milk tea. The business of the royal wine shop in the capital was very popular, and various places followed suit and started various food dishes. The people were eating well and their lives were getting more and more prosperous. In terms of technology, he was not idle. He has continuously developed fertilizer formulas and irrigation technologies to teach farmers everywhere, double the crop harvest, and the world has gradually entered a peaceful and prosperous era. Lin Xiaochuan looked at all this and felt a sense of accomplishment. He thought to himself, it will be no waste to travel through time. This world has been ruined by me. As for Zhao Debao in Qingshi County, after hearing the news that Lin Xiaochuan was granted a title of marquis and ministers, he was already scared and secretly ran away with his family. Unfortunately, he was arrested by the government halfway, cured the crime of bullying the people, and went to the prison and squatted. When Lin Xiaochuan heard the news, he just smiled and didn't care about the pressure. After all, this little character was no longer his opponent. One day a few years later, Lin Xiaochuan stood on the top of the Royal Wine Building, overlooking the bustling streets of the capital. He was surrounded by the laughter of the people. Xiao Chui was already out of the way and was dressed in a rosy dress and said with a smile, "Brother, when I was following you and I didn't expect this to happen today. Now people all over the country have eaten hot pot and drank milk tea. This is all brought by you." Zhang Zixi came over with a crutch and laughed, "Boy, when I helped you build your first crossbow arrow that year, I knew you were not a person in the pool. Now, even the emperor has to listen to you, and I, like this, benefited from it, and became a royal craftsman, haha." Lin Xiaochuan heard their words and felt a sense of emotion in his heart. He turned around and murmured, "This is the beginning. Whether it is food or technology, I can do more. In the future, I will let everyone in this world live a good life and let this prosperous era last for another 100 years. As the sun sets, smoke is cooked over the capital, and the fragrance of fire is mixed with the laughter of the people, flying towards the sky." Lin Xiaochuan smiled slightly, turned around and walked down the building, continuing to write a new legend for his food empire.